Hello everybody, welcome back to another great video, and I'm going to be discussing another favorite book of mine. In the last video I talked about Joel Rosenberg's Marcus Riker series, and in this video this is another favorite book of mine. I'm referring to White Fang by the author Jack London. I want to talk about the author Jack London for just a little bit. I had never liked his books. I had to read them as part of school many years ago. And I thought him very boring and only read as much as I absolutely have to, and never again touched him. And very recently I went and picked up the book White Fang just to read it. Wondering, is it good? I mean, was I just young when I read it and didn't understand it? And you have to understand, Jack London was an amazing person. He really lived a life of adventure, I guess you could say. He, at a very young age, he heard about the Klondike gold rush, right? And he said, I'm gonna go get rich too. And he went all the way up to Alaska to the Klondike to try and go get himself some gold, and spent years there. He dug and dug, he made his claims. He never found an ounce of gold, but he went out with something much more valuable. When he was out there, he used to talk to all the other miners and stuff looking for gold, and from them he had stories. And so he came back to America with all these stories that he had heard, and from personally being in the Klondike, and this is what drives his stories, especially White Fang. Right from the opening scene in White Fang, you have these two men who are going across Alaska, right? And they're couriers, excuse me. They're supposed to be delivering somebody. Specifically, an English lord has just passed away, and they're supposed to deliver him to a fort to be buried. And they're being chased by a group of very hungry wolves. And in the time he's writing this, there's a food shortage going on. And even the wolves are so hungry, they're chasing people. And what makes the book so good is Jack London makes you feel like you're there. You feel the cold of the Klondike, right? I mean, you can just see like the harsh winter landscape everywhere and all the wildlife attempting to survive. And of course, the book is about White Fang. He's a mutt. He is a wolf-dog kind of hybrid, you know? And White Fang has more wolf in him than dog, and you get to read about him. Ever since he's born, he has this instinct in him, and his instinct is merely to survive. But very early on, he gets taken in by man, right? Originally from Indians, and he just keeps getting traded from owner to owner to owner, and all these owners, all they ever do is they mistreat him. And so White Fang ends up growing up to be very kind of violent, very malicious. He's a very mean-spirited dog. Not because he's mean in and of himself. Again, the thing that drives him is just to survive. And if he's being treated very meanly, he knows nothing else but to respond in kind. That's all he knows. And he's a very well-developed kind of character, even though he's a dog. I love the way Jack London sums it up close to the end. It says he was the wild, the violent, the malicious, harsh landscape of the wild. He was the embodiment of everything that the Klondike wild was. But then, just as you think you've got the story figured out, close to the end, a kinder owner, you know, he's still a very gruff man in and of himself, takes in White Fang, who treats him with compassion. And at first, White Fang doesn't understand how to respond to this. He's never been treated kindly in his life. But eventually, he grows to feel a deep sense of love and loyalty to his new master, right? And rather than being beaten and whipped constantly, he sticks by his master out of love, and he constantly defends him. He never wants to leave his side. And it's a very nice story, but again, it's not just a cutesy story, it's a very serious story. The Klondike was a very harsh landscape, and the people kind of reflect that, but it's such a great book because you feel it, you're there, you can see everything. What the White Fang really is a snapshot of a time that's now gone, right? The gold rush is gone, but this is a snapshot, and through it we can kind of experience it. And that is why it is one of my absolute favorite books. And have you read White Fang? You tell me in the comments below what you thought about it, and don't forget to like and subscribe.